You're exhausted. Your side hustle drains you. Late nights barely move the needle. You're cutting corners, desperate for thin margins, just to stay afloat. Here's the gut punch. 90% of new ventures crash, not for lack of effort, but because they solve a problem nobody cares about, or elbow into an already crammed market. Imagine that local coffee shop owner. They try to undercut Starbucks. Double shifts, skimping on beans, still bankrupt. They're bleeding from the neck. This is the red ocean reality. Office politics, failing side gigs, beating inflation. This scene plays out daily for millions. Here's the kicker. If you're fighting on price, you've already lost. Competition is for losers. Today, we stop competing and start creating. If this hits home for you, drop a like. Most people think the answer is working harder. I'm going to show you why doing less is actually the secret to monopoly. Stop competing. It's killing you. You're exhausted, aren't you? Constantly fighting for that sliver of market share, hustling harder, working longer, just to stay even. That gnawing feeling, it's not just you, it's the game itself. Welcome back to Audiobook Bites, where we distill the best books into actionable insights. But nothing beats the original. Grab the book if you want the full deep dive. Today, we're tearing into a concept that shatters the way you think about success, business, and even your own career path. Stop competing. Seriously, it's killing you. We're talking about a core seismic shift, moving from market competing to market creating. It's a paradigm reimagined. Let me paint a picture. Imagine the U.S. housing market. You know it, it's brutal. Think about buying a fixer-upper in a hot neighborhood where every other flipper, every other investor is doing the exact same thing. You're all bidding up prices, eroding your potential profit. You're all scrambling for the same few reliable contractors, the same materials, often paying a premium just to get them. The margins, they're razor thin, if they exist at all. You're elbowing everyone else out of the way just to get a chance to break even. That, my friend, is what we call a red ocean. Why red ocean? Because it's bloody. The boundaries are strictly defined. The rules are universally accepted. Everyone knows them. Everyone follows them. And everyone is fighting each other for diminishing returns. It's an all-out war. It decimates your profits, it drains your energy, it stifles true innovation. Because your gaze is constantly fixed on your rivals, trying desperately to outdo or just keep up with their latest move. This constant competitive treadmill ensnares your potential. Think about your office politics, that brutal climb for a promotion. Think about that side hustle you're trying to launch in an already saturated online space. Even your daily battle with inflation, you're constantly competing for value against relentlessly rising costs. It's a fight for survival, not for genuine growth or thriving. It suffocates opportunity. But what if you didn't have to fight? What if there was an entirely different ocean? Enter the blue ocean. This isn't just a clever phrase, it's a strategic revelation. Imagine building tiny homes for remote workers, specifically those who value minimalist living and crave community but hate traditional RV parks. Or developing a subscription box for obscure, ethically sourced coffee beans shipped directly from small, unheard-of farms in developing countries. Or creating an online course that teaches niche, high-demand AI prompts to non-tech-savvy entrepreneurs, empowering them without demanding coding skills. See the radical difference? These are uncontested market spaces. They are uncharted territories where competition becomes utterly irrelevant. You're not fighting, you're pioneering. You're not sharing a pie, you're baking a whole new one. You forge new demand. You unleash explosive growth. You redefine the playing field. Now, this isn't about being slightly better than the other guy. This isn't just about differentiation for differentiation's sake. This is about value innovation. And honestly, the author's advice here is a bit extreme, almost idealistic in its simplicity. They brazenly refuse to choose between low cost and high differentiation. They insist you can achieve both simultaneously. For many of us, that sounds like a magic trick, a business unicorn. But here's the undeniable nugget of truth. Value innovation challenges the conventional wisdom. It demands you deliver exceptional value to buyers while simultaneously driving down your costs. How? By brutally eliminating and reducing the factors that don't add real value to your unique offering, and by boldly raising and creating new elements that buyers genuinely desire, perhaps even things they didn't know they needed. It's about creating a decisive leap in value, not just a marginal improvement. It reshapes the entire industry, often leaving competitors scrambling, confused, and ultimately irrelevant in the old red ocean. This approach ignites new opportunities. Here's what you can do with this mindset. Stop obsessing over what your competitors are doing. Seriously, staring at their moves, mimicking their strategies, trying to beat them at their game, that is the fastest, most guaranteed way to become irrelevant. You'll always be a step behind, always reacting, always trapped in the bloody waters. It stifles your intrinsic creativity. It blinds you to genuinely groundbreaking possibilities. It locks you into a constant, exhausting battle. If this hits home for you, drop a like, because the bottom line is this: the most powerful strategy isn't to outcompete, it's to stop competing altogether. It's to find that wide-open, shimmering blue ocean. It's time to claim your own space. But how do you actually find that field? You need a map. That's coming up next. The one-page strategy that saves millions. You're probably juggling too much, fighting for every inch, feeling like you're in a race you can't win. What if I told you there's a dead simple way to see that race and then win it by not even running? This chapter unleashes a ridiculously powerful one-page strategy. It's called the Strategy Canvas. Now, the book drags us through a lot of theory here, and honestly, some of it feels like academic jargon. But the core idea, it's pure gold for anyone trapped in a sea of sameness. Picture this, a simple graph. On the bottom, your x-axis, you list every single factor your industry competes on. Think of it like a checklist of what everyone thinks they need to offer. On the vertical, your y-axis, you plot the level of offering for each factor. High, low, zero. Let's apply this to something familiar, the American auto industry, pre-Tesla. Imagine that canvas. On the x-axis, you'd have factors like vehicle price, engine horsepower, number of trim levels, dealer network, financing options, ad spend, even the sheer number of cup holders. Now, here's the kicker. Plot the curve for Ford, then for GM, and then for Chrysler. What do you see? Every single one of them charts the exact same line. They all offered high on nearly every single factor. High prices, high horsepower across 1 million models, huge dealer networks, aggressive financing. It's a convergence, a sea of identical offerings competing only on who could shout the loudest or cut prices the deepest. This, my friends, is the convergence curve. If your business, your side hustle, or even your personal brand within your office looks like this, a carbon copy of everyone else's curve, then you, my friend, are a commodity. Period. You're stuck in a brutal dogfight where profit margins evaporate. So how do you escape that grind? You find the white spot. That's the magic spot on the canvas where the curve for your ideal offering dramatically drops to zero on factors the industry has blindly assumed are essential. Let's yank this into something hitting a lot of us right now, the modern American university system. Honestly, the author's take on bloated industries is spot on, and it screams modern education. What are the factors here?
high tuition, sprawling physical campuses, massive sports programs, required general education courses, academic prestige, research facilities, career services, which, let's be real, often feel like an afterthought for job placement. Now, plot that curve for 500 universities across the US. What do you get? Yup, another convergence curve. High cost, high prestige, low practical skills relative to the job market. They all follow the same expensive, often inefficient model. The bottom line, if this hits home for you, drop a like. The blue ocean, the absolute white spot here, think trade schools or specialized boot camps. What do? They slash the tuition. They eliminate the fancy dorms, the college football, the endless gen ed requirements. Some even drop tuition to zero until you're hired. They drastically reduce the time to graduation. They focus laser-like on one thing, getting you job-ready fast. They have a completely different curve. Once you see the curve, you need to break it. And to do that, you have to do something painful. You have to subtract.
How to build a monopoly. You're caught in the trap, stuck in the grind, trying to deliver more value without blowing your budget. Whether it's your side hustle, that big project at work, or just trying to stretch your dollar further with inflation biting, you feel the squeeze. Every time you push for an upgrade, costs skyrocket. Every time you cut costs, quality tanks. This book demolishes that old school thinking. It's called the ERR grid. Eliminate, reduce, raise, create. Forget the idea you must trade off value for cost. This framework shatters that limitation. It's not about doing more for less, it's about doing different. This isn't just theory. This is the blueprint Southwest Airlines used to dominate an industry. While giants like United and American battled bankruptcy, Southwest soared. Why? They didn't just compete, they redefined the game. Now let's hit the first, and honestly the hardest step, eliminate. This means ripping out features, services, or even expectations that customers think they need but don't truly value. The author here is ruthless. He argues you must purge the sacred cows. For Southwest, this meant no meals. Think about that for a second. Major airlines served a full meal, even on short flights. Southwest just stopped. No pre-assigned seats. First come, first served. No baggage transfers to other airlines. You want your bag on the next leg? Grab it yourself. These were absolute non-negotiables for the established players. They assumed customers demanded them. Southwest refused to play that game. They slashed those assumed necessities. Here's the kicker. Most people don't want a gourmet meal on a 45-minute flight. They want cheap, reliable speed. They want to get from A to B without a fuss. We get so accustomed to how things are done that we never question why. What are you doing today, in your business, your side hustle, or even just your daily routine, that's considered standard but delivers zero real value? What meal are you serving that no one actually eats? That overhead, that extra hour of busy work, that feature no one clicks on. You need to identify it and eradicate it. This step separates the disruptors from the dinosaurs. Next step, reduce. This isn't about eliminating entirely, but about cutting the fat, dialing back the over-service. Where are you giving too much? Where are you gold-plating something that just needs to be functional? Southwest didn't eliminate all customer service. They reduced the complexity. They flew point to point, not through massive, congested hubs. This reduced the delays, the stress of missed connections, the need for an army of ground staff scrambling to reroute passengers. It reduced the complexity for everyone. Think about your own world. Are you spending hours perfecting a report nobody reads past the executive summary? Are you offering premium customer support for a product where most users just need a simple FAQ? Are you sending out elaborate gifts when a genuine thank you would suffice? The author doesn't mince words. You are likely over-serving in areas your customers don't fully appreciate, and it's bleeding your resources dry.
You're giving away value you don't need to, and it's costing you time, money, and mental bandwidth. You need to find those points of diminishing returns and scale back. Now, this is where the magic happens, where the new money rolls in. Raise and create. This is the payoff. Once you've purged the unnecessary, once you've trimmed the fat, you have freed up resources to raise the value of what truly matters and create entirely new offerings. Southwest didn't just strip things away. They raised convenience and friendliness. They created a culture of fun and speed. They made flying enjoyable again, affordable again. They raised their turnaround times on the tarmac, getting planes in and out faster than anyone else. This meant more flights per day, more revenue per plane. They created a simple, consistent pricing model that was easy to understand, even if it wasn't always the absolute cheapest. They raised employee morale, fostering a loyal, motivated workforce that provided genuinely good service. While others were cutting pay and alienating staff, Southwest built a loyal, engaged team. What can you amplify? What new, distinctive features can you engineer that your customers never knew they needed but now can't live without? Is it a unique delivery model, a new way to engage your audience, a personalized service that stands out? This is where your innovation truly shines. This isn't about adding more, but adding different, adding impact. You're not just competing, you're carving out your own unique market space. This is how you escape the red ocean of competition and forge your own blue ocean. This is how you unleash new revenue streams. The bottom line is, the ERR Brid compels you to rethink your entire value proposition. It forces you to look at every single thing you do and ask, does this truly serve my customer's core need, or is it just how it's always been done? It's a powerful tool for finding those hidden opportunities for growth, for mastering your market. If this hits home for you, if you're tired of the old trade-offs, drop a like. It sounds perfect on paper, but there is a massive trap in this book that destroys companies who try this in 2024.
Stealing your competitors' customers. You are stuck. Maybe your business feels flat. Maybe that side hustle just isn't scaling. And maybe, just maybe, you're eyeing your closest competitor, wondering what magic potion they're sipping. You're scanning their website, checking their prices, even trying to reverse engineer their marketing. Here's the gut punch. You're wasting your time. You've got tunnel vision, and frankly, that narrow focus is precisely what's killing your growth. Think about it. Blockbuster didn't fall because it fixated on rival video rental stores. No, they crashed because they missed the real threat, Netflix. And Netflix didn't just offer another movie. They decimated the pain of late fees, the agony of limited selection. They weren't looking at video stores. They were looking at the couch potato who was already eyeing cable TV or just bored. They stole customers who weren't even in the video store's universe. That's the brutal truth of the game. This isn't just about massive corporations either. It's your career. It's your side gig. It's that internal promotion you're vying for. If you're only competing with the person in the cubicle next to you, you're missing the wider field of alternatives your boss might consider. So, how do you escape this trap? How do you break free from the echo chamber of your own industry? This book introduces the 6 Paths framework. And honestly, the author's advice here is a bit extreme in its simplicity, but the nugget of truth is pure gold. It shatters the idea that your competition is just your direct rival. It forces you to hunt for demand where nobody else is looking. This framework tells you to find the uncontested market space, to make the competition irrelevant. Let's dive into the first 3 paths. First up, Path 1. Look across alternative industries. Here's the kicker. Your customers aren't just choosing between you and your direct rival. They're making choices between completely different ways to solve the same problem. Take movie theaters and fancy restaurants. Seems like apples and oranges, right? But think about it from the customer's perspective. What problem are they solving? I want an entertaining night out.
A movie is one option, a high-end restaurant is another. They both compete for that entertainment dollar, that limited budget for a special night. So, what can you do? Stop fixating on just the other guys in your niche. Instead, ask, what else does my customer do to solve the underlying problem my product or service addresses? Are they taking online courses instead of hiring a consultant? Are they doing DIY home projects instead of calling a contractor? Are they packing a lunch instead of buying that expensive takeout? Identify those completely different industries serving the same core need. Then you can design your offering to pull customers from those alternatives. You don't just steal from your rivals, you poach from the adjacent lane. Next, we have Path 2, look across strategic groups. Now, this path sounds like a jargon fest, but it's simpler than it sounds. Strategic groups are basically companies within the same industry that follow similar strategies. Think luxury versus budget, or full service versus self-service. Airlines, for example. You've got your budget carriers, Southwest, Spirit. Then you've got your premium, full-service airlines, Delta, United. Historically, they've competed mostly within their own groups. But here's the insight you can leverage. People often trade up or down between these groups for the same core utility. Someone might fly Spirit for a quick weekend trip, but splurge on a Delta Comfort Plus seat for a business flight. What if you could capture both? What if you could offer the key benefits of the luxury group at a price point closer to the budget group? For your business, this means identifying what makes the high-end option so appealing and then finding a way to deliver just enough of that value at a more accessible price. Or conversely, taking the core convenience of a budget option and adding a premium layer that justifies a higher price point. You're not just trying to be better, you're trying to bridge the gap. You're pulling customers who previously felt stuck in one category. You're giving them a reason to switch allegiance, not just providers. This could be your side hustle providing a luxury service at a budget price, or your team offering a full-service solution faster than anyone else. Finally, let's explore Path 3. Look at the chain of buyers. This one is critical. Often, the person using a product isn't the same person buying it. Think about software in an office. The IT department might purchase it, but the end users, your colleagues, are the ones who actually interact with it. For kids' toys, parents purchase, kids play. For prescription drugs, doctors influence, insurance companies pay, patients consume. So, here's the deal. Most companies target only one link in this chain. But to truly unearth new demand, you need to understand the distinct pain points and motivations of each player. What does the purchaser value? Price, reliability, ease of implementation. What does the user value? Simplicity, effectiveness, comfort. What does the influencer value? Reputation, innovation, ease of recommendation. For your project or service, this means asking who influences the purchase, who makes the final decision, who actually uses it, and how can you tailor your message, your features, or your service to resonate with each of them. When you align the value proposition across the entire chain of buyers, you don't just sell, you dominate the entire ecosystem. Imagine if your side hustle could appeal not just to the person paying, but also to the person who recommended it and the person who actually uses it. That's a triple threat. If this hits home for you, if you've been stuck in the competitor echo chamber, drop a like. We've covered the strategy. Now I need to be the bad guy and tell you why this book might actually ruin your business.
Why most blue oceans turn red instantly. You're grinding. You're desperate to pinpoint that next colossal opportunity, that virgin market, that blue ocean everyone in the boardroom keeps name-dropping. But here's the unvarnished truth, straight up. Most of those so-called blue oceans, they hemorrhage red faster than a shark smells blood, instantly. We've been seduced by the promise. Now it's time to ignite the BS filter. Because this book, for all its brilliance, demands a brutal reality check for your world, your hustle, your 9 to 5. We're about to dissect the silent killers, the static traps, and the execution gaps that strangle innovation and turn groundbreaking ideas into forgotten footnotes. You need this insight. First up, the myth of the static trap. The book paints a picture of blue oceans enduring for a decade. A decade? In this hyper-accelerated digital economy, that's not just optimistic, it's pure fantasy. Think about Instagram brutally replicating TikTok's core mechanics. Or remember Clubhouse? Back in 2020, it was the quintessential blue ocean. Exclusive social audio, every tech bro scrambling for an invite. It was fresh, it was hot. Then, Twitter blitzed with spaces. LinkedIn swooped in with its audio rooms. Within months, Clubhouse's unique advantage evaporated. It's now a digital ghost town. Here's the kicker for you. Your window for market dominance isn't a leisurely 10 years. It's a ruthless 6 months, tops. Then, the hungry sharks arrive, ready to clone your success, replicate your innovation. This isn't just a C-suite problem. It's your problem if you're launching that side hustle, building that new feature. Your perceived moat erodes rapidly. You must move with unparalleled speed. Next, let's confront the brutal, soul-crushing execution gap. The book champions ruthless elimination of features to forge new value. Sounds decisive, doesn't it? But in the trenches of corporate reality, eliminating features often translates to decimating the team that built them. Imagine yourself, a leader, trying to tell a senior VP that their pet project, their strategic baby, the thing they bled for, is being scrapped overnight. Internal politics will rise like a tsunami. Human egos will sabotage your vision. Strategy dies a slow, painful death when it collides head-on with established power structures and the emotional investment of your people. You might pinpoint the perfect new direction, but navigating your organization or even your own ingrained habits to truly shed the old, that's the real war. It's not just about what you can eliminate, it's about what your company or your team will actually let you eliminate without a full-blown mutiny. If this brutal truth hits home for you, drop a like, because we've all been trapped in this bureaucratic quicksand. And finally, let's expose the insidious survivorship bias. The authors masterfully dissect the triumphs, the apples, the Cirque du Soleils. They showcase the lottery winners. But here's the gut punch for your planning. What about the thousands of aspiring companies, the countless entrepreneurs who also tried to engineer entirely new markets? The brave souls who sailed into uncharted blue waters, found nothing but relentless storms and starved. The book doesn't reveal your true odds. It's a dazzling highlight reel, not the grim full game. For your next bold move, you must confront the immense risk, the staggering number of failures that pave the road to every heralded successful blue ocean. It's not merely about identifying the potential path. It's about surviving the treacherous, unforgiving journey through an unpredictable wasteland where the vast majority perish. So, is this book a relic of the 2000s or the Bible for the future? Here is my final verdict. Essential or outdated? You've absorbed the core ideas. Now for the blunt truth. Is this book essential or just some dusty artifact? Here's the verdict. It's a masterpiece of strategic thinking. It shatters your assumptions about competition, about value. But here's the kicker. It's a dangerous guide for implementation in today's world. So the score? 9-10 for shifting your mindset. It rewires how you see opportunity. But a blunt 5-10 for modern speed. Honestly, trying to follow its detailed steps to start a business today, you'd get absolutely crushed. The bottom line is this. Don't read this to launch a startup. Read this to audit your life. You are the CEO of your own life, remember? Stop competing in the red ocean of keeping up with the Joneses, whether that's office politics, your side hustles, or battling inflation. Chart your own course. Use this book to eliminate the noise, cut the irrelevant, streamline your focus. If this hits home for you, drop a like. It's about sailing your lone boat away from that burning harbor of mediocrity.